Deciding what to do with your life is one of the most daunting questions that a person's ever going to ask you. When I was applying to college, I thought that I'd study history, and now 2 years into my college experience, everything has changed. I'm Logan, a sophomore at the University of Arizona, studying history, political science, and law. In this video, I'll be giving you a detailed flowchart on how you can decide your major once you get to college. Towards the end, I'll be providing this flowchart to you, and I'll explain how you can use it and decide your major in like 10 minutes. This video can also apply to students who wish to change their major or add an additional major. It's up to you. And if this video helps you out and you use my flowchart, hit subscribe. I'll be providing more content like this in the future. But first, here's some things that a lot of people and creators in this topic get wrong. A lot of people will tell you to do what you love and the money will follow. This is great advice, honestly, but it's incomplete. A lot of people want to be teachers, gardeners, librarians, but with a college degree, you can do way more. You can invent things, create things that will help people. You can research things that will change the world. You can do so much with a college degree. On the other hand, a lot of people will tell you to pick your career based on how much you get paid, but that's a shortcut. That's not a plan. Money isn't everything, and if you're a smart person, your degree isn't going to be your only source of income. A lot of people in the tech spheres will also say that, oh, your job's not secure. AI is going to take it in a couple years. That's fear. That's not a strategy. The flowchart in this video is going to consider every variable, leaving nothing open to chance. One more thing before we actually get to this flowchart. You might not like what I have to say in this video. I built this flowchart to be as objective as possible, like I said, leaving no room for chance. If you don't like the answers that this flowchart gives you, and you decide to proceed, that's okay. I can't control your life. But I truly believe that if you follow this flowchart, you will find your major. Alright, let's actually get into this chart. So the first step is to ask yourself, do you actually enjoy this topic? Here's an easy exercise to actually test this. For your first major, list 3 subtopics that you would be genuinely interested in learning more about. So for me, I chose to major in history. 3 things that I'm interested in are Greek history, Latin American history, and economic history, the history of capitalism, the history of socialism, something along those lines. If you can come up with 3 things, or more, obviously, that you would genuinely be interested in learning about, odds are you actually kind of like this topic. In addition, list 3 projects that you'd be interested in working on. Let's take political science, for example. A project you could work on is drafting a piece of policy, creating a speech, or studying polarization, making a report about it. If this exercise fails and you're not actually sure if you like the topic, maybe restart. You can still take classes about this subject in the future, but for now, let's try something else. There's no reason to spend 4 years studying something that you have no interest in. If you do enjoy the topic that you selected, now we move on to point number 2. Can you get good at this topic? So we've already learned that you're passionate about this subject, that if you chose this major, you would enjoy learning about it. But can you do more than that? Can you actually excel at it? As Cal Newport puts it, can you be so good that they can't ignore you? Take law, for example. Can you excel at debate, legal writing, reasoning, etc.? You don't want to just be interested in lawyer shows. If you want to take this a step further, ask yourself if you can be the best in the subject, the best in your school, the best in your state, the best in your field. If you can, once again, this is a good major to look into. For most people and most majors, the answer is likely yes, you can get good at it. But it's always a good point to consider and reflect. And assuming the answer to this question is yes, now we move on to no number 3. Does this major build transferable skills? Whatever major you chose, ask yourself, does this major focus on writing, research, presentations? And then ask yourself if these are skills that you'd be interested in developing further. If the answer is no, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Just maybe consider this as a minor or some elective courses that you'll take in the future. But if this major does build transferable skills, we move on to no number 4. Is this major economically viable? Here we have arrived at the point that most people actually care about. How much will you get paid? What is the median income of graduates within 10 years of graduating? How easy is it to actually find a job within 5 years of graduating? Most of these numbers are available through your university if you just send an email to someone. If not, just Google it. I'll provide some links of helpful tools in the description. Another thing you want to ask yourself is, what is the job security of this major? Is AI a threat to your employability? If the answer is yes, don't panic. Just be aware. Maybe learn and find out how you can incorporate AI into your future work. If you're interested in learning more about AI in the workplace, I actually filmed a podcast with some friends and I'll put it in the cards up here. If your major is not economically viable, don't give up. Augment yourself with skills and research that will help boost yourself. Don't lock yourself into only one escape hatch if things happen to go wrong. But if your major is economically viable, that leads us to point number 5. Is this major actually fun to learn about? If you're already in college, this is actually really easy. Ask your friends if they're taking any classes that you're interested in pursuing. Ask to sit in on those lectures. If you find yourself enjoying the content, enjoying the lecturer, maybe consider adding that as an additional major or switching depending on your persuasion. Take me, for example. When I applied to university, I went as a history major. In my senior year, I took a trip to Washington, D.C., and then I realized I was more interested in politics. Instead of switching my major, I just added another one. And then in my first first year actually being at college, I also added a law major. You don't have to play this game of swapping one out for another. You can add on if you're okay with taking some additional courses. If you aren't in college already and aren't able to sit in on classes, look up some videos about your major. Reflect on how you felt watching them. If you felt interested, pursue that. But if not, I think it's time to restart. Okay, so we've gone through the entire flowchart. Now it's time to actually analyze our answers to the questions. For each question you responded yes to, rate how passionately you feel about that answer from 1 to 3. At the end of the flowchart, if your total rating is around 10 or so, maybe higher, I think that's a really good major. If it's something lower, maybe the 7 to 9 range, that might be a good minor, or might be a good topic to take electives in. If it's something even lower than that, you might want to restart the flowchart. Picking a major is probably one of the toughest things that you'll have to do in your college career. I may have laid the groundwork to make your decision a little bit easier, but it's still up to you to take that leap of faith. Luckily, you aren't locked into your major. You can experiment. Anywhere from 30% to 50% of students end up switching their major at least once in their college career, and there's nothing wrong with that. You should be experimenting with different topics you might be interested in. You never know what might lead to a better career. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I'll be posting more videos in the future helping you out in your future college life. I've also included a link to the visual flowchart that you've been seeing on this video in the description. Go check it out if you want. Thank you all for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.